In this video, I'll show you how to make some giant chess pieces. In this case, I use cedar because I am using them to deter bugs from my closet. I'm choosing to make a rook, which is the castle. I'm making some pencil lines here, and then just removing the bulk of the material. You can practically smell the cedar. Here's another view of removing that material. This is all sped up 16 times. And a few finishing touches. Now I'm just sanding this with some 80 grit and then some 220 grit. And the piece is essentially finished in terms of turning. Ooh, safety first, kids. I rectified that particular issue with a shim for the next time I attempted that cut. There we go. Now I'm just going to sand this down a bit. I apologize for having my head and a quarter of this footage on these headshots that I'm doing. Here I'm adding a bevel cut just to create a concave shape on the bottom. And now I'm finding the center and drilling that out with a 1.5 inch bit. Here I'm removing some material to create the little castle lines on the top. Unfortunately, I really should have marked this with a pencil first, and I did not. So, spacing's a little bit weird. So I could leave this as a standalone piece, or I could do what I did next, which was cut it into slivers. Basically some slides that get hung between clothes. This was pretty dangerous too. I had screwed the piece onto another board, then I unscrewed it. I didn't trust this thing to not take my hand off, so I switched back to the radial arm saw and just cut off that top layer. Now I'm just sanding all of this flat. Turned out pretty well. Here I'm using a rasp to try to clean this up a little bit, but those bits left over were in the way, so I used some common sense and went to the grinder. And now I'm just pre-drilling and adding some hooks. Here's the next piece I'm doing, which I decided to select a bishop in this case as the next piece. Now I'm doing the pencil lines and just removing some of this bulk material. Here's another view of that. This is where I'm at the moment, and I continue removing more of the wood. Here I'm actually forming where there's going to be a ball at the top, but I won't remove that material until I absolutely have to at the very end, just to ensure that the object doesn't fly apart off the lathe. So went ahead and sanded, again 80 and 220 grit. And now I'm removing that last bit of material for that ball at the top. And doing some final sanding. Here I'm just removing the excess material and doing some more sanding. And lastly, I'm doing a bevel on the bottom again. And then I wrap it up, sanding the top. Here I did 3 pieces. I didn't show the queen because I just wanted to get that done. We're preserving some inherited baby clothes. So I wanted to make sure we had some cedar blocks to keep the bugs out. We have some woolly bears in the house occasionally. So I think these turned out pretty well. And it's a cool little project. I've done a few of these now. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe.